video for our Good evening. Welcome to the 2021 JCFS Chicago Annual Meeting. I'm Jennifer Lucas, Chair of the Board of JCFS Chicago. We had planned for a small group to gather in person, but decided it was best again this year to come together virtually. Like the entire world, JCFS Chicago has spent this year in a state of equal parts introspection and transformational change. Over the last year, we have transformed how we do what we do, in some cases finding new, innovative ways to meet the increasing need for JCFS services. Tonight, we will reflect on our remarkable accomplishments in fiscal year 2021. We will also look toward the future of JCFS and how we continue to lift up our neighbors and those that count on us to be a source of healing and hope. I want to start by recognizing our dedicated board of directors and other community leaders, our staff, our donors, and our partners. You've been central to our success. You have guided us, shared your ideas, your time, and talents. We are grateful to each of you. Now I'd like to officially begin the business portion of this meeting with a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes and request your approval. To handle voting this year, we will be using SurveyMonkey. We sent the links in our email this afternoon. You can vote from there, or we will share the links in the YouTube chat during this program. There will be 3 times when we need you to vote, and anyone who is a donor to JUF is eligible. If you're going to use a link in the chat, take a moment now to locate the chat, click on the link to take you to SurveyMonkey, please cast your vote, and then close the survey window. Thank you. Minutes are approved. I'd now like to call upon Board Treasurer Andy Glick to give us the JCFS financial report for fiscal year 2021.
Thank you, Jen. I'm pleased to report that JCF Chicago finished fiscal year 2021 with a balanced budget, subject to audit at $38,615,561. The following details are included in our annual report, which can be viewed at jcfs.org. Our largest source of revenue came through various government contracts at 34%. Jewish Federation, Jewish United Fund was again a generous partner with 32% of our annual revenue. Corporations, foundations, and other charitable support accounted for 14% of agency revenue. As in the past, on the expenditure side, our largest use of funding goes to emotional well-being services at 24%, followed by special education and career and employment, each at 20% of funding, and disability services at 11%. Management and general expenditures came in slightly lower than past years at 13%. JCFS Chicago is grateful for the ongoing support of JUF, donors, foundation, and all other philanthropic partners who help make it possible to provide much-needed services throughout our community. The next part of our program is the presentation of the JCFS Chicago Community Partner of the Year Award. Jen, would you come back up?
Thanks, Andy. This year, we recognize Jewish United Fund, Jewish Federation of Chicago as our Community Partner of the Year. As in many years past, you have been at our side, providing unprecedented funding, training, and collaborative thinking. We are grateful for your continuous, unwavering support. This past year in particular, your increased fundraising helped us to ensure the stability of our agency and generous allocation of emergency financial assistance for those affected by the pandemic, and that illustrates your commitment to the JCFS community. Receiving this year's Community Partner of the Year Award on behalf of JUF is President Lonnie Nassiter. Thank you, Lonnie, and JUF for your continued partnership. Thank you so much.
Thank you. There, come over. Ready? Great. Thank you. Thank you, Jen. Thank you to everybody out there. It has been quite a year, but I got to tell you that this JCFS community is so lucky and privileged to have the leadership of Jen Lucas this past year. I want to personally just say thank you. I said it when I was outside at the Siegel Center opening, but having Jen spearhead this amazing organization has been inspiring, and having a partner like Stacy Shore, I know has made this experience for Jen incredibly enriching, and I just had to make sure I said that before I really started my speech. But it really is an honor to have the JCF Chicago Community Partner Award come to JUF. It is obviously our immense pleasure and privilege to work hand in hand with all of you to serve our community, and we're really humbled to be recognized in this way. Our joint response to the pandemic highlighted the importance of the very special partnership that exists between JUF and JCFS Chicago, and we took it to new heights. The work we do together is inextricably intertwined, and the companion respect that we have for one another runs really deep. I would be remiss if I also didn't say thank you at this point to the JCFS Chicago board and all the staff that are out there for the amazing work that you've done. You showed resilience, you showed amazing spirit, and our community is stronger and more stable as a result of your dedicated leadership, commitment to excellence, and ability to flexibly respond to ever-evolving community needs. Thank you also for providing needed social services and mental health care safely and creatively during uncertain times. You considered your community first and yourselves second, and we will never forget how you all stepped up. Huge thanks to the JCFS team across disciplines who planned, built, and conducted every program online and in person that kept people connected at a time when everyone was craving connection to community and to one another. A big thank you to the caseworkers who worked tirelessly to accelerate operations and push out more direct cash assistance into the community, a 186% increase in dollars distributed. That served as a lifeline for so many during such a difficult time. Together, we helped ensure that families weren't forced to choose between paying their rent or putting food on the table. We're also so grateful to the social workers and therapists who seamlessly pivoted to telehealth counseling, helping people of all ages and stages cope and adapt during the greatest public health crisis in recent memory. From the swift establishment of a warm line to supporting families and frontline healthcare workers, you didn't skip a beat. You helped support growing numbers of people wrestling with anxiety and depression, many of whom have never struggled with mental health in their life. A study conducted by Brandeis found that young adults in particular were grappling with increased mental health challenges. So JCFS Chicago worked closely with JUF's Young Leadership Division to customize services to meet their needs. JCFS Employment Services staff took the lead and helped facilitate a unique support group and provide additional mental health and employment resources for local young professionals. Thank you all for all you did to support these young people and workers of all ages, aspirations, and careers to help them cope with the stress, uncertainty, and employment challenges in the wake of the pandemic. One of JCFS Chicago pillars is enhancing and expanding services for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and we so appreciate the caregivers and interdisciplinary staff who helped ensure that people with disabilities in our community continued to thrive. Your successful establishment of an additional home this year and plans for 1 to 2 additional residences in the coming year fills a truly significant need. Running these residences during a pandemic required intense commitment and creativity, an extraordinary measure of grace and energy, not to mention 100 extra staff hours per week at the pandemic's height. The way JCFS Chicago staff came together to accomplish this was really, quite frankly, amazing. Residents and their families were able to persevere with optimism and resilience and stay connected to community because of your incredible efforts. JCFS Chicago's voice at the Encompass provider meetings and the continued sharing of your expertise remains critical as we work together to build more inclusive Jewish community programming. In Jewish life, we must all strive to be more responsive to and reflective of people's differences. And JUF is deeply committed to partnering with you to make significant strides in the inclusion space. Years from now, I believe our community will look back on our response to this pandemic as one of the defining moments of our lifetime. JCFS Chicago has taken action as a critical leader, partner, and collaborator at every turn, and we owe a debt of gratitude to the army of creative, committed people at JCFS Chicago who have worked tirelessly to help get our community through this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You have done such amazing, truly life-changing and life-saving work, and you do it each and every day. JUF is so very proud to be your partner, and we're hopeful that amid the challenges we face in the year ahead, and I'm sure there will be, we will continue to find opportunities to grow, expand, and partner in new ways to support and strengthen our great community. L'shana tova tekatevu, wishing you all a sweet, happy, and healthy new year. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Lonnie, for your partnership. We truly appreciate it. Because of our collective commitment to JCFS and the critical services we provide, let's take a few minutes to see how we responded to the need for services in the last year.
At the beginning of the pandemic, the big change was that we had to switch suddenly to teletherapy. That was an adventure for everyone.
We needed to shift completely the way we provide all of our services, including our educational programming.
So in Highest, we have completely gone virtual with all of the majority of our service delivery options.
What we were able to provide during the pandemic was connectivity.
And we could be that kind of constant presence for a child and for a family that was some sort of normalcy to them.
But for those who support people with disabilities, that can't be done virtually. It's done in person. So there are several programs that just stayed in place right from the beginning.
The pandemic has encouraged us to be flexible, be creative in how we connect with our clients, and to be able to access clients in a way that we haven't been able to in the past.
That has opened up for us an opportunity to serve folks that we weren't able to serve before.
This flipped things in a way that the parents were really having to step up and take some control of the therapy session because we were helping direct them on what to do.
Just getting places can be hard for people with disabilities. So now that everything was virtual, suddenly they're included in everything.
It was an amazing learning opportunity for me to just see how cool it was to use all of these different features.
There were so many times where you just saw it click for a family. You saw a mom suddenly anticipate a need or read a cue from her child that she'd never been able to do before and pick up on a nuanced behavior. And I think those moments of growth and those moments for families, I feel like are so uplifting.
So the pandemic forced us to be extraordinarily creative in how we reached and served the community.
And it really limited those geographical challenges and other barriers that keep people from accessing mental health services.
Some of them are still doing teletherapy now, even though the clinic is opened, because they've seen how much of a benefit they get from it as a family and for their child.
Now we're able to move into an area where we can find what's best for each person that we work with and really customize our services to meet the needs of each individual person.
We are able to be in more places because we don't have to worry about travel time and traffic.
We've discovered that we can enter a family's home when they're having a really difficult time and actually see what's happening. It's going to be another way to check on people more often and quicker.
We'll have this expanded opportunity to provide both in-person and online services, as well as continuing to provide the rich content that we've always provided.
We are community building on a daily basis, whether it's virtual or out there in person.
I hope you enjoyed the video. Reflecting on the goals that I shared at last year's meeting as I stepped into this role, I can see the progress we've made. Last year, we launched our Strategic Plan 2.0 in tandem with my term as board chair, giving me a roadmap for the future of JCFS. Building on our 3 pillars of impact, leadership, and sustainability as our core foundation has allowed us to respond to increased community need and take steps to move forward on our plan. With a vision set for programmatic direction in our disability and emotional well-being services, we began implementing plans to address both current and unmet needs of our community. With our JCFS brand identity now solidly infused in all that we do, we launched a brand awareness campaign to build a stronger connection with stakeholders across Chicagoland. Both the board and staff have gained new skills to begin building a culture of philanthropy, increasing advocacy, and creating a community of inclusion. Despite a challenging year with unusual circumstances, we are in a strong financial position. And now I have the pleasure of asking Stacy Shore, our Chief Executive Officer, to give her report.
Thanks, Jen, and thanks for your leadership this past year. So you will notice that the theme of this year's annual report is metamorphosis. What a fitting description it is for JCFS this year. Like a caterpillar transforming into a butterfly, we've experienced a shift that's going to allow us to fly higher into the future. Though many of our staff did work in person throughout the pandemic, to anyone observing from the outside, our offices would have appeared pretty quiet. Our conference rooms were fairly empty, fewer clients entered our lobbies. But much like a cocoon that appears dormant from the outside, those quiet hallways belied what was actually taking place beyond direct observation. In truth, we've never been more responsive than we have this year. JCFS Chicago has been at the very center of addressing the growing needs of our community in the face of the pandemic. While we know that the primary impact of the pandemic is, of course, public health, the secondary impacts are central to our work. In fact, after the first 12 months of COVID-19, the director of the National Institutes of Mental Health reported a dramatic increase in depression, anxiety, and suicidality. Economic hardship, job loss, grief, social isolation, and other increased stressors have touched so many of our neighbors. But as you learned in the video, these are the very challenges that JCFS is built to face. Our therapists provided countless hours of support to those who asked for help. Over 15,000 people benefited from JCFS emotional well-being services last year. Some came for individual or family therapy in our offices and on computers. Others participated in support groups and seminars that helped us address the unique challenges of our time. Challenges like how to grieve when Shivas are on Zoom, or how to transition to college when you're stuck in your bedroom. Students in our NAP school and yeshiva were able to return to in-person classrooms this year, and we were able to cheer side by side with proud parents as our graduates walked in cap and gown. We did all this while we also supported emotional well-being at nearly 150. In addition, we increased services for those in need of financial assistance and job support. You already heard from JUF how we were able to multiply our services many times to help families impacted by COVID, to pay for rent, to feed their families, to pay their medical bills, and in some cases even pay for funerals. Our career services team was hard at work helping those who were out of work improve their resumes, network, and find new jobs. And, as we learned earlier, partner with our counseling team to address the emotional needs of those struggling with unemployment. People with disabilities were also differentially impacted by this pandemic. Over 1,000 people turned to JCFS last year for help with pediatric therapies, respite, residential, and job supports that we always provide as they became all the more important. And for adults with disabilities who face isolation in a good year, the closure of day programs around the city made this problem even worse. So what did we do? We found new creative ways to remain connected. We increased respite for families with children with disabilities. We continued to provide in-person, on-the-job support for adults with disabilities. And we opened a new home, growing the number of people that we can help live independent lives. Of course, metamorphosis cannot take place without saying some goodbyes. This year, we sunset 2 long-time agency programs. First, after much careful consideration, we elected to discontinue foster care. In moving away from foster parent licensure and case management, we're focusing instead on our core strength, our clinical ability to help children who have experienced tremendous trauma to have their best chance at a stable life with a family. We look forward to continuing our partnership with JCFS in this important work. Similarly, the Virginia Frank Child Development Center faced a change. Though we have announced the closure of our long-beloved therapeutic nursery program, we will now focus instead on bringing our deep expertise to helping more young children outside the walls of our facilities. This is not the first time we've shifted services in our 60-year history of this agency, and as we have in the past, we will continue to honor our meaningful history even as we need to move forward. Happily, FY21 did bring much to celebrate. The highlight of the year was the opening of the Siegel campus with a newly revitalized Goldie Bachman-Luftig building and a new Siegel building as a permanent home for Response for Teens. With deepest appreciation to our lead donor, Harry Siegel, as well as the many, many donors who helped us move this from vision to reality, we look forward to a future where the services on our campus, HIAS, counseling, career services, Jewish community services, and Response can truly soar. I am so proud to represent the staff of JCFS. Individually and together, we have used this unique time to not simply respond to needs as they presented, but to consider human need into our future. Facing these challenges is not for the faint of heart, and we are fortunate to have as partners in this hard work of metamorphosis an incredible board of directors who lead with both their hearts and their heads. Thank you to our unparalleled partners at JUF. Thank you to our advisory boards, our volunteers, our donors, our legislators, our stakeholders, and our clients as we move forward together. In just a few days, Jewish people throughout the world will observe Yom Kippur, a day of atonement. And at the centerpiece of this special day will be a prayer of communal confessional, the Ashamnu. It's a prayer we say on behalf of our community, a prayer that looks backward in solemn reflection in order to set things right for our shared future. In so many ways, that's actually what JCFS has done throughout this entire year. We've reflected, we've considered our priorities, and we've looked into the future. And, as with the Ashamnu, we do so as a part of and on behalf of our community. We're grateful that each of you watching on video tonight is standing with us in communal reflection of the year as we look forward to our shared future together. And together, we will lift every neighbor. Shana Tova.
Thank you so much, Stacy, for those wonderful words and for your incredible leadership. Thank you. Each year, the board selects one of its own members to receive our Above and Beyond Award. In this secret ballot, board members nominate colleagues who not only carry the responsibility of board membership, but who continually look for additional ways to elevate the work of JCFS. I am delighted to announce this year's deserving honoree, Sherry Grossman. Mazel tov, Sherry. Sherry leads the Resource Development Committee, which saw tremendous momentum, exceeding their goal for the year. She also sits on the Marketing Committee and was integral in the launch of the awareness campaign, along with advocating for joint focus between both committees. Sherry has continually stepped up to provide her expertise and support in many ways, ensuring the sustainability of JCFS by making sure resources are in place to continue to lift up our neighbors. Now, on behalf of the nominating committee, I invite the nominating committee chair and vice chair, Neil Posner and Mitch Kaufman, to the podium.
The following people are being presented as new board members for a one-year term: Rachel Ferber, David Greenbaum, Adam Tarantour. A hearty mazel tov and welcome to the JCFS Board of Directors. For a two-year term, I present Carol Enriques, Robert Brim, David Lowenthal, Susan Rubin Alfont, and Barbara Wolf. Thank you.
And for a three-year term on the JCFS Chicago Board of Directors, I present Alan Alport, Michael Capone, Glenn Ferenz, Stan Friedel, Marcy Friedman, Jennifer Lucas, Marshall Pred, Alicia Prero, and Milton Zimmerman. And finally, I present the following as incoming officers of JCFS Chicago. As chairperson-elect, I present Michael Capone. As treasurer, Michael Capone. And as corporate secretary, I present Todd Grayson. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mitch and Neil. We now need to vote on this confirmation of the slate, so please use the second link in the chat. Approved, thank you. Congratulations, and thank you all for your service. And thanks to the nominating committee for a job well done. I now want to turn the program over to Karen Corkin, our Chief Operating Officer, to recognize some of our remarkable staff and outstanding programs at JCFS.
Good evening. I'm Karen Corkin, the Chief Operating Officer for JCFS. The work of JCFS would not be possible without the dedication, expertise, and commitment of all JCFS staff. But tonight, I want to recognize those that have been selected to receive special recognition this year, beginning with a deserving program that had an essential role in keeping workplaces open and safe throughout the pandemic. The Elaine Schwartz Impact Award was created in memory of Elaine Schwartz, a dedicated officer of the JVS Board of Directors and an avid supporter of Response for Teens. She was a psychiatric social worker and understood the value of work that our programs provide in the Chicagoland community. This award was developed by her family to honor Elaine's work and dedication to JCFS programs as well as recognize our ongoing commitment to make an impact in the community. It is my honor to present the Elaine Schwartz Impact Award to Contracted Employment Services. Contracted Employment Services, or CES, is committed to assisting adults with disabilities and other barriers to employment find and maintain jobs. CES pairs qualified candidates with open positions in janitorial and administrative support services. During the past year, these jobs were not just meaningful to the employer and employee, they were essential. CES staff continued to work on site throughout the pandemic, including additional services at the Illinois Department of Health, where people were working around the clock researching the COVID-19 virus. As Marlise Grauman, Associate Vice President of Disability Services, stated, CES was selected for this award due to their steadfastness during the pandemic, not only continuing to work in the community every day, but also increasing their cleaning protocols to address COVID. They kept vital government functions going when they were most needed. CES clearly exemplifies our commitment to meeting the needs of the community. Eric Cramp, Director of Contracted Employment Services, will accept on behalf of CES.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, I'm pleased to present our Ken Jacobson Professional Excellence Award to Edie Sue Sucker, Assistant Director of Adult, Child, and Family Services. This award is given in memory of Ken, who brought a combination of care, compassion, and expertise to his long work at JCFS. Edie has been a respected member of the JCF Chicago team for 13 years. Edie's courageous personality and active leadership is unparalleled. She's known for her informative approach, her willingness to seek solutions, and her continuous contributions towards innovation to meet community needs. Edie is known for her willingness to step up, take action, and embrace challenges to find better outcomes. She's an advocate, a leader, and a true professional. Howard Citron is our former CEO, and the Howard Citron Distinguished Service Award reminds us of his leadership and dedication to JCFS. We wish to recognize Shannon Corona with this Distinguished Service Award. She's extremely well-deserving of this recognition and exemplifies its spirit. Shannon started at JCFS 15 years ago in an administrative role and has risen to a leadership role in the development department. She's a fantastic leader who keeps the development ship running smoothly. Shannon cares deeply about the agency's mission, works hard, has a positive attitude, and champions the success of other team members. This past year, Shannon oversaw significant revenue growth with our end-of-year campaign and our two main events, Tuned In and Striking event, which were especially challenging because they had to be virtual. And she spearheaded the transition to a new donor database. She did all of this with incredible composure and poise. The next 5 people have each received the Bob Bloom Excellence Award this year. Generously funded by the Donna and Jake Greenberg Charitable Trust, these awards are peer nominated and peer selected. They represent staff who truly redefine what's possible for their clients and JCFS. First is Maureen Gray. Maureen has been a financial counselor with JCFS for the past 6 years. Daily, she hears heartbreaking stories about the difficult side of the pandemic. Remaining positive and professional, Maureen helped to train and guide additional supports on her team to allow the program to process increased inquiries and clients. sees a genuine commitment, compassion, and awareness of the needs and expertise of our clients. Her upbeat attitude makes it easy for those in need to feel comfortable in relating to her and accepting both financial assistance as well as emotional support. She is connected to the agency's mission and advocates for others in a very meaningful way. Next up is Julia Kaminsky. Julia is the super glue that holds everything together at our Northbrook office. She's always juggling a lot of things and never seems to drop the ball. Each year, we have a new crew of interns and externs, and Julia demonstrates so much patience and availability to help onboard and support them all year long. Julia's warmth, openness, and sense of humor always brighten our day. Julia reflects the initiative, leadership, and compassion that JCFS emphasizes, and we are lucky to have her. Next is Scott Klusterman. Scott started off as a temp at Response for Teens and moved over to NAP several years ago. Scott is described as the person who kept the NAP office humming through COVID. He is very smart, organized, efficient, and detail-dedicated employee. He exemplifies what it is to be a team player, always willing to lend a helping hand, offer smart suggestions, and is proficient in whatever he takes on. He does all of this while being kind, courteous, and professional. Scott works with a spirit of generosity and maintains it throughout his workday despite any challenges that he may face. We appreciate Scott for all he does, for who he is, and for his commitment to the agency and the clients we serve. Next is Nina Henry. Nina is all things, truly everything that this award exemplifies. Delightful, engaging, passionate, beyond knowledgeable in her fields of expertise, and always ready to go the proverbial extra mile. She has forged strong relationships with our sister agencies, represented JCFS Chicago on local coalitions, spearheaded new programs while tending to her existing responsibilities, and entertained us with her acting and singing chops. She's like the Hermione Granger, nearly bouncing out of her seat with her hand raised, begging to be called on. And like Hermione, Nina will know the answer. She is a nurturer and educator at heart. Giving her all is Nina's typical response to every situation. And our final Bloom Award recipient is Mimi Stern. Mimi's commitment to excellence is unparalleled. She generously gives her time and is ready to join any conversation where CQI is involved in the process. She's consistently professional, organized, confident, and creative in her approach to CQI and supportive of our goals. Mimi demonstrates courageous authenticity through her open communication and curiosity in addressing internal and external changes. She brings a positive attitude that motivates others towards success, and on top of that, she's an amazing person to work with. Congratulations to all of our well-deserving award winners. We're grateful for your commitment, positive outlook, and willingness to go the extra mile. You can read more about our long-tenured staff in the meeting program that was sent prior to the event.
Thank you so much, Karen. It's always good to have a reminder of how and why we do what we do. And congratulations to all the award winners. And with these awards, it brings us to the conclusion of our annual meeting. So if you could use the final link in the chat, please, labeled poll number 3, motion to adjourn. If you could vote, that would be great. The motion is approved, and that officially concludes our 2021 annual meeting. Thank you all for joining us. Good night.